And welcome back. It's time for Opinion Court. Please do get in touch with us. 22422 is our SMS line, and if you're online, please use the hashtag Opinion Court so that we can track your conversation. You can find us at Citizen TV Kenya. I will reintroduce my twin topics to you and our guests. To my far right is Edward Kisiangani, our resident political analyst. Next to him is Kimani Waishungwa, who is a Kikuyu MP and of course of Jubilee. On my left is John Badi. He's the ODM chair, a party now formerly in the NASA coalition. And next to him is Herman Manyora, a political analyst. Gentlemen, you're all welcome to the program. Our twin topics begin with the latest news in politics, which is that after flirting with the opposition for a while, KANU seems to have headed, some say, back home. Today they declared their support for President Uhuru Kenyatta's re-election bid, although adding that they will be fielding candidates for other seats in the August general election. So I'll start with you, Mbadi. Was this news a surprise to you, given the way KANU has been associating with you over the last few months?
Not really. I don't think we were surprised, because if you followed the developments in the past few weeks, about 2-3 weeks, you could see where KANU was gravitating to, starting with the visit, the famous visit by the former First Lady to the former President, Daniel Moi. At least we knew something was coming, and that which would come was only the assurance of the support of KANU. So it wasn't really a surprise to us, even though there were some indications previously that KANU was very unhappy with the way they were being treated. But we could see the unhappiness of KANU was different from maybe the rest of us. They were unhappy because the deputy president was purportedly treating their leadership, or leader, so to speak, very well. But for the president, I think there was some comfort. So I think basically this is not a surprise to us. And not a big deal either? I wouldn't say it's not a big deal, because in politics, if you want support and you don't get that support, however small that support is, it is still support. So I wouldn't come here and pretend that if by KANU failing to join us, that it is not a big deal. If they joined us, we'd be more happy. But as to whether it is going to affect us, that depends on how we conduct our campaigns. All right, so let's listen to this, because you've talked about there were all sorts of indications that in fact they would join. This is what Nick Salat had to say about that.
Mjua ya kwamba chama cha KANU nikiwa katibu mkuu tuko ndani kabisa, ndani kabisa, ndani kwa mambo ya NASA niko ndani.
Okay, that's how ndani they were. Kimani, there's no way that a member as senior as Nick Salat would have attended the first official meeting, if you like, of NASA at Bomet, and then went ahead to Bomet saying those words without his bosses. Okay, was KANU just playing both sides and looking to bargain for power?
I think, KANU, you must appreciate, and I'm glad John Badi appreciates that it's not a surprise that KANU has reneged from joining NASA, because for me it's a realization of what is basically common knowledge among us Kenyans, that if you are a serious political party in this country and you want to be in government, you cannot be in that thing called NASA. And KANU is that realization that they have come to, the KANU leadership has come to, that if they really want to be in government, they cannot be in that amorphous coalition or alliance of selfish leaders with no agenda for this country. And out of that realization, I think
they have an agenda, an 8-point-1, which they presented yesterday.
Let me tell you, a national super alliance per se should be a very serious outfit that seeks to bring the country together and have an agenda to move the country forward.
I think that was point number 2 specifically, uniting the country.
This is an alliance, I want to tell you, is actually NASA don't call it the National Super Alliance. It is a no agenda, selfish leaders alliance. just a conglomeration of very selfish leaders who only want to attain political power and nothing else to offer to Kenyans. And you can see how well they played out Kenyans up to yesterday. And I think it's that realization that KANU and the KANU leadership has come to. And don't forget, KANU in the last elections did support one of the principles in that alliance of selfish people, the Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, and they headed nowhere. So KANU does not want to be in a position where again they will find themselves not being a core principle in government, and that it's out of that realization then that they have decided to come and support a government that they are certain will win in these 2017 elections.
Manyor, to what extent do you believe that the meetings between retired President Moi with President Kenyatta and First Lady, if you like, Mama Ngina, influenced the decision that we heard today?
I don't think it is to a very great extent. I suspect perhaps Gideon Moi and the Salats of this country, from what Ishungwa calls a serious party, wanting to join government. Ishungwa, a serious party, yes, would want to join government, but KANU is not a serious party. And I also think a serious party would not want to join government. A serious party would want to be government.
Why is KANU not a serious party? One, because they're not going for the presidency seat?
Yeah.
Okay.
A serious party goes for power. That's how we define a serious party.
Not power sharing.
No, you go for power. Not to support other people to get power, then you are not a serious party. And if you are a serious party, then you go for the power. Having dismissed that now, I think we can go to your question. I think there was something like trying to irritate Uhuru Kenyatta. This is coming from Gideon Moi, yeah? That you seem to be thinking you can control things without reference to us. We are the people really who matter in Rift Valley, and if you ignore us and if you continue doing so, then we could show you. And specifically because there was an onslaught on Gideon Moi in Baringo from Jubilee. You know, Ruto has been saying that they are going to ensure they sweep clean the whole of Baringo. That means getting Gideon out of Senate. So I think he was taking this opportunity to show them that he can also kick a bit. And when it looked like it was becoming ugly, Uhuru must have sought the help of the former President Moi.
And what does that say to you, Prof? Is retired President Moi still the Jogo in KANU?
Yes, but just before I answer that question, I want to give some free advice to my friend, Kimani Ichung'wah. Even when you are in a ruling party and governing, you need to demonstrate humility and respect your competitors. This dismissive attitude reminds me of the gods, the story of the gods. When the gods reject you, they first make you arrogant, then make you mad, then you die. So please, so really, that the arrogance you have demonstrated. Let me tell you something. This is free advice. So anyway, you understand me. I wouldn't be.
The gods have rejected code and this animal code.
Just respect the competitors, because these guys are within the republic. They are part of our country. So they are our leaders. But let's criticize them with humility. So you don't have that humility, and it will be very costly to you and even your party if it adopts that style. But let me just get back to the KANU Moi thing. Yes, Moi is still Jogo, and he's political parties gravitate around personalities in this country. So Moi is the king of KANU. But just let me tell you this, that what is happening in KANU, first of all, I would have been surprised if KANU finally ended up in the opposition. Some of the people that are in the opposition today are the people that Moi fought all his 24 hours. I mean, for 24 years in power. So he would really always be uncomfortable with them. There are just one or two fellows there that he would do business with, but the rest are people that he cannot work with.
If that is the case, sorry, if that is the case that the retired president is still the Jogo of KANU, then when does Gideon rise to the occasion and really take the reins of the party to the extent that he can use it as a proper leverage for any political position he may aspire to?
That is exactly where I'm going to. Gideon Moi is the son to Daniel Arap Moi. What is happening in KANU is the long-time plot that I've always talked about. The plot at the center of this is William Ruto. It has totally nothing to do with the August elections. It is about the destruction of William Ruto. And I told you one day, no, wait, because you are not patient. I am interpreting a situation. I'm trying to be patient. The reason is this. William Ruto has been trying to torpedo the political equation in the Rift Valley by trying probably to challenge the dominance of the Moi family. That has not sat well with the former president. And even when you saw Mashinani, I think you could even hear the same thing from Mashinani, that probably Mashinani will again talk the same language just like Chap Chap, that yes, let's support Uhuru Kenyatta, but down here let us field our own candidates. The idea is to weaken William Ruto so that he is not realistically at the top of things in 2022. It has nothing to do with the 2017 elections, because William Ruto is a stranger in the palace.
But did you agree? Is he a stranger in power?
Let me agree with Professor a little bit, because you see, first we can trace this to the burial of Mark II. Yes. You remember Gideon told us exactly what we are seeing today. What Gideon demonstrated was he wanted to remind the president that if you're coming to Rift Valley, you should know there are other bulls in Rift Valley, not just William. So what has happened now is that some discussion has taken place where maybe some people have been given some confidence that we are also regarding you very, you are valuable to the to Jubilee. Come back. That is why you can see now they have come out clearly to demonstrate that they are supporting Jubilee. So I want to agree with Prof that actually this is not an afterthought. What Gideon has been working around was how do I increase my value in Jubilee.
And do you think this is a significant problem for the Deputy President in his going forward?
It is likely to be, because the Deputy President has rattled feathers in Rift Valley. I think, again, as Professor put it, I think the Deputy President, maybe that is where Kimani Ichung'wah has learned his bad manners of not being very humble, where others, or where he's discussing with peers. You see, the Deputy President has mismanaged the politics of Rift Valley, so to speak.
How?
You can see how the people who previously were very close to him in that region, many of them now don't see him as friends, as their friends. Take the example of the governor of Bomet. I will tell you, I was with them in 10th Parliament, and if there is anyone who helped William to go to Jubilee, it was one Isaac Ruto.
How are they mismanaged? Because Isaac Ruto seemed to stem from his position as chair of Council of Governors and the constant friction with national government.
You see, in my view, and this is based on pure personal analysis, I think Isaac was being seen as growing too fast. And so William had to manage him in some way, in one way or the other. And that management, or trying to manage Isaac, made Isaac to rebel now, and to turn to attacking the Deputy President. But it is not just Isaac.
You should also point out...
Let's Manuel speak then.
Yeah.
Go.
I also think, to be fair to William Ruto, you know, there are some of these guys who felt they are big. Some of them in feeling they were bigger than Ruto. Look at people like former powerful interior peers. Those days, they were called what? Provincial administration, and whatever, and security, chariot. At a time, he was a powerful man in this country. William Ruto was just a boy. Now, he can't believe it, that he's a man trying to lord it over them. People like Isaac Ruto are feeling they are great men, and yet here is someone whom they know is not perhaps as important as he thinks he is. So it's a question of managing egos, and I think this is where Ruto could have gotten it wrong. The Deputy President, he would have appreciated. You can't do a Machiavelli today, that you break guys who help you go up, then you enjoy the throne. You can't do it today. So he would have been a little more tactful in dealing with these people who think they're big.
But some of them, my brother, in the academy, you know that what is happening is what is happening with Gideon Moi and Uhuru Kenyatta. really helps, the biggest beneficiary to this is Uhuru Kenyatta. It gives him chance to manage his succession if he wins the general election. And how he wins that is this: William Ruto will be busy in the Rift Valley because he
trying
now
to fight off a rebellion.
Yeah, because there is a rebellion, and now even the accommodation. Look, even on this show, several times we have spoken about this in the past. President Uhuru Kenyatta has met Daniel Arap Moi several times since 2013 without meeting, in the same meeting, without William Ruto attending. And whatever comes out is speculation.
I think these two gentlemen are taking us to that academy there in some academy of politics. But I want to take you back to real politics and the reality on the ground in the Rift.
The problem is you only listen to yourself. You only listen to myself. You only listen to yourself.
Speak, Imani.
Let me listen to myself, but I want to speak to Kenya and tell them the reality on the ground, other than the classroom politics you want to advance here.
Arrogant,
and you're moving us from the real question on why KANU has come back to support Jubilee.
It never left.
And push these debates to the question of William Ruto and his position in the Rift. That man you say was a boy Manyora is today the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. And the reality, the truth, the reality on the ground in the Rift Valley and beyond the Rift Valley in the larger Kenya. Kenyans appreciate that leader who has grown from very humble beginnings. He's not as humble as, he's more humble, of course, than I am, as Prof says. And that is probably why he has risen to be who he is. And it is that realization, then, that even those in KANU, and remember the bedrock of KANU support is in the Rift. It's that realization that the leadership in KANU has realized that we cannot move our people out of KANU to take them to an alliance of very selfish leaders who have absolutely nothing to offer.
Then let me ask you this, does it then, gentlemen, does it then, Badi, set the stage for that foreboding or warning, if you like, that came, that KANU will then rule for 100 years?
No.
Is this the positioning for it? Let Badi speak.
You see, let me first of all address quickly what Kimani Ichung'wah has just spoken to regarding the Deputy President being the leader of Rift Valley. We know it is
Kenya, not Rift Valley.
The formal leader. You refer to Rift Valley, so if you want to amend it, then I would allow you to amend your statement. But the point is this: if that was the case, if there was no problem in the Rift Valley, then why did you see Mama Ngina Kenyatta going to visit the former president, Daniel Arap Moi? There was a problem. And I will tell
she wielded real power in this situation? I will tell you again
that the president again went and spoke to the president. So this is something we know. You cannot pretend that there's nothing that has been going on. But be that as it may, because that is not my business, or you can organize your house as you so wish. We do organize ours. Regarding the issue of KANU ruling forever, I don't think that is going to happen. Or rule for more than 100 years, because by August we are going to remove this KANU surrogate that is still remaining in power accidentally. Because I would tell you for a fact that elections, we have won elections in this country about twice, 2 times.
You have what?
We've won election twice, and twice we have been denied that victory. So if elections were fair in this country, we would by now have dissolved.
So what guarantees there this time will win? You see, the problem with the politicians...
Speak, Manyor.
The problem with the politicians, sometimes they don't listen when you are talking. What I said, Kimani Ichung'wah, was there are people... Kimani Ichung'wah. There are people in Rift Valley who were great when Ruto was, you can put it, nothing. Such a people sometimes have a problem accepting the reality that the guy who was what you think he was today is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya.
It is that reality.
None other than the Deputy President himself has alluded to that, actually talked about it when he said the problem with Jirongo, sababu nilikuanga mtu yake ya mkono. Is this the kind of stuff I'm talking about?
Yes.
But I would want to make some small contribution. And the problem in Rift Valley is bigger than we are discussing on this table. We must then ask ourselves, why do you think Moi engineered what he engineered through Uhuru and the rest? Do you want to say there's nothing for him in this arrangement? There must be something for him.
What do you think that is?
That is, Gideon must get something.
In 2022 or in 2017? Hold it. In 2017 or in 2022?
In 2022. But on the way to 22, you must make certain moves as early as now.
So you agree KANU will rule for 100 years? That's what this is setting the stage for?
It is quite possible, but it's a little tricky. The arithmetic is becoming tricky. The dynamics are changing. You may not be in control of things, but certainly that was the intention. That at some point, and that time may not come if Ruto succeeds Uhuru. This is the complication for Gideon. If Ruto is going to succeed Uhuru in 2022, then Gideon will not be there to take it at any other time.
Let me bring in the question of
that is very complicated for
them. Because this is what has been, Kimani, you have been attacking them throughout the show, and now it's time to discuss them properly. They launched, of course, formally the party yesterday. And now that it's a done deal, do you believe that at least the signatories, the initial signatories of this NASA agreement will stay in the same house? Can anyone afford to walk out at this stage?
I'll take you back to March 2002, when Raila Odinga walked into KANU with his tractor, driving his tractor into the Jogoo. And 7 months later, in October of 2002, he walked out and demolished KANU. Today is the same scenario probably happening. Musalia Mudavadi has walked into the CORD coalition. First of all, Raila Odinga was very welcoming to Musalia Mudavadi for one principal reason. Because Raila Odinga is a cheat and is a liar. He wanted to lie and cheat Kalonzo Musyoka, who they had a coalition agreement, under the CORD banner. And he knew by welcoming Musalia Mudavadi into a new outfit, and some amorphous outfit called NASA. And it's what I've told you is a no-agenda, selfish leaders alliance. Because it has no agenda.
Do you believe that it should be tenable for anyone to leave
I won't tell you the game plan, and probably Musalia Mudavadi and Kalonzo Musyoka should better listen to me today. Because if Musalia does not walk out with Kalonzo and Wetangula and demolish this thing called NASA, they are being led into the 2002 Kichinjio that Moi led Raila and his group from LDP to Kasarani. Because Raila is the candidate for ODM. ODM is CORD is NASA, and therefore NASA is Raila Odinga. There is no other candidate in NASA. There is no other candidate. And what Raila is trying to do, and I'll tell you, is just to hoodwink these people and try to galvanize the communities as these people are coming with into some amorphous thing that eventually will name Raila Odinga as a candidate.
Yesterday they did outline the 8 things that they stand for.
You see, Anne,
look at
my brother here can really be frivolous. You touch things, you know, don't express your emotions here.
Have you read that?
For us as Kenyans, the debate and the discourse we have here is not about how they organize themselves. But what we want to do is we are looking for good leadership and good values accompanying that kind of leadership. So really I don't care how even Jubilee organizes themselves. When they will form government, I would ask for certain things to be done, which I expect as a citizen. So for me, what NASA is doing, they can do their stuff. But as to whether they will stand the test of time is something that really requires some people to cut off their egos. Because each one of them has an ego, and they have been planning certain things against...
Who needs to eat humble pie first?
In
NASA?
In NASA. I think everybody first should eat.
Everybody
must eat humble pie. Then they are reduced to the same level, and then from there they can say all of us now are equals, because they are not equals. So what I would expect my brother here to have said is that there is dominancy from Raila Odinga than it is from Wetangula or Kalonzo.
So he should have the biggest share of the pie.
No, it's not about that. This dominancy, he has cultivated it. In a political game plan, you cannot ask people to help you to be dominant. Politics and
but
power...
But you just said they should all prepare to be humble and equal.
Yes,
for this to work.
Because it's a temporary arrangement. The best way to have happened is for them to have started off by each one outplaying each other early enough, and then finally, if they don't cope, one walks out. But where they are now, we have 6 months to go. This is a temporary arrangement to unseat an opponent. So therefore, it will require a special arrangement for them to make it. And in that case, therefore, one of them or two of them must shed off their what? Their ambitions. Otherwise, if they don't shed off their ambitions, I can promise you that if they don't do it, and one of them walks out, two of them walk out, Jubilee wins the election. But if they stick together,
if two walk out, Jubilee.
Yes, but if
any two walk out,
the Jubilee will lose. But if they stick together, but sticking together is not the only thing. They must stick together and support each other. If they stick together and support each other, we are facing a battle royale in August.
All right, Badi.
And first, when I listened to Kimani Ichung'wah giving unsolicited advice to Kalonzo Musyoka,
I'm only trying to help
and he's
them.
actually forgetting that he just joined politics the other day. These are seasoned politicians, and I would ask you to respect the leaders, especially leaders who have achieved a lot for this country. It is irresponsible to call a leader like Raila a cheat and all that. You need to have some kind of respect
to the substantive issue.
But now let me go back to the substantive issue. Kimani Ichung'wah is talking the way he's talking because he's a stranger to what we do in NASA, and I will tell you for a fact as an insider that we are not going to see any leader leaving NASA. All these four leaders will be NASA. In fact, what we are likely to see is more leaders joining NASA. And we are waiting for people like Charity Ngilu to officially join NASA. So if anyone is dreaming that there is going to be bolting out, that we have passed that step. And I wanted to, before you cut me short, I wanted to correct Prof that unlike previously, this coalition has been growing and we have enough time that no coalition has ever had in this country. Remember, NAC coalition was formed just 2 months to election. The Jubilee coalition came into being a few months to election, the same as CORD. This time round, the three principles and the CORD coalition has survived 4 years and a half together. People had written them off, that they are out of government, they are out of parliament, that we would not stick together, some of them would be bought. That has not happened. Instead, Musalia Mudavadi has come and joined together with us, and I'm telling you, we are not going to see more than one presidential candidate out of the four principles.
So one question, one question.
As a final comment,
how would you, because I think this challenge you have not tackled it, how would you present a candidate who will assist in deluionizing, decarbonizing the party? Because what is at stake is that people have come in with ethnic considerations. So you need a candidate who is completely deluonized. As we talk now, Raila is seen as a Luo candidate. You have to deluonize him. When you look at Musalia, he looks like with the rectangular, they represent Luya interests. So you have also deluionized them, then decarbonize the party. That is where the breaking point is.
Does the same go for President Kenyatta and the DP?
Yes. You have to decarbonize President Kenyatta, because look at how we behaved during the during the water registration process. President Kenyatta avoided going to campaign in some areas, just like Raila Odinga also did. So you could see that the president camped in central Kenya quite a long time, and except for the coast, but there are so many places where he did visit.
Are you talking about in the previous election?
No, in the current election. There are places that
that is not correct.
Plenty of time in Mombasa. Plenty of
the deputy president was
let me give you an example. Where was the president during the registration period in Kisumu, in Nyanza? Where was he? Did he go? No. In Western Kenya,
the deputy president was in Kisii.
No. We are talking about, there is no. We are not voting for the deputy president. We are voting for the president.
Prof, you done with your point.
So my point is this.
No point.
No. Well, I know you can't see it, but my point is this: that NASA faces a bigger challenge because already Jubilee has a candidate, and so it's difficult to talk about President Uhuru against NASA. You have to get a candidate for NASA. But the immediate problem for NASA is to make sure they get a candidate who is completely de-Luanized, de-Campanized, or de-Luanized. As a national appeal.
Okay, final comment, Kimani.
I think to be fair, one, and let me inform Prof, that the president and the deputy president were all over around this country. The fact that they did not make it to go to Kisumu or to Homa Bay doesn't mean they went to other areas in this country. And I think for the 1.5 or 2 weeks that they were out, you definitely cannot cover this country in about 2 or 10 days. Two, I'm happy that Prof talks about the Luanizing and the Cambalizing. And I am one of those people who subscribe to a national character of politics. And that's why I support the Jubilee coalition. One, you cannot talk today about President Uhuru Kenyatta as a president of the Kikuyu nation. He's a president of the Republic of Kenya. He's appreciated by Kenyans as their president. The deputy president, the same thing. And I'm happy. And I was here the other day with John Buddy looking at the numbers from the voter registration exercise. And one of the things that made me happy out of that show is that we were agreed, at least we are now moving away from our ethnic-based politics, where we're just looking at our strongholds and swing states, or rather swing counties. Counties that in previous elections probably would never have thought that we could consider them as swing counties. But we are now looking at a coalition that has gone out to sell its agenda and vision for this country to places beyond our ethnic boundaries. And I think the only problem is that this NASA thing,
with the respect, because
I have no respect for people who have no respect
with
for
humility.
Kenya. And I want to say this NASA thing, because it has no agenda for Kenya. The only agenda is to bring people from their ethnic backgrounds, put them together, try and achieve raw political power for the sake of having power. And that is why I told you is an alliance of selfish leaders who have no vision and no agenda for this country. And I think Kenyans realize that, and that's why you will see. Unlike what John Buddy is saying, that there will be more leaders coming into that NASA thing. More leaders will continue to bolt out of the NASA. You wait until they conduct their primary elections. Read that coalition agreement, Article 10 on power sharing. That is where the devil is in that detail of that Article 10 of that agreement.
Buddy.
That I know they've not.
First of all, I wanted
Final
to say that I agree that the politics of this country has been ethnicized for quite a bit of time, and indications are not there that we are going to stop it in anytime soon. But I wanted to point out that Raila Odinga, and I want to be specific on Raila because he has participated more than any other or any of the other three principals as a presidential candidate, is the only person who has managed to get support across this country. And I don't think Luos occupy the whole of this country. Even in the last election, do you know that the president did not win any county at the coast? Raila did. You go to Northeastern, Raila won counties.
Let
me just finish, Kimani. I don't know whether this political immaturity is making you not to be patient, but you learn to be patient.
I'm only helping you.
You go to Eastern Province, you find both of them won. The only province that Raila did not win any county is Central. Yet Uhuru did not win any county in Nyanza. He didn't win any county in Western. He didn't win any county.
You're saying he has a more national appeal.
Coast. So Raila, I was saying that much as some people would look at him and see a Luo in him, and that is not his mistake, because we have to be born somewhere. But at least he has managed to win the confidence of Kenyans across the board. Unlike some of us who probably would win just their provinces of birth and all that.
Right.
So, but I'm saying that going forward, any of these principals in the NASA coalition who will get the ticket, and I would tell you that candidate will be unveiled. Don't worry about the timing, Professor, because in 2002 we unveiled our presidential candidates in 2 months to election. I want to tell you that ruling parties everywhere in the world will always have their presidential candidates known if the presidential candidate's term has not ended. So that is not news. But oppositions will always come with their presidential candidates towards the tail end. So just wait and watch this space. We will remove these people from power.
I think I haven't spoken on this NASA thing, but just to wind up, it is emerging that the two sides, where Mbadi sits and where Kamau sits, Kimani. Why am I confusing myself? Yeah, because of the other fella. You see, each of these fellows think they are going to sleep on a bed of roses. It's difficult for them come August.
Jubilee and NASA.
Because NASA has things to deal with. Not least among them, selecting a flag bearer and making him accepted by the other 3 communities. This is a big task. Not the way Kamau puts it. Not the way Kimani Shungwa puts it. Kimani Shungwa, that for example, that Raila is cheating the rest. That presupposes that these other gentlemen are fools. These are mature people, seasoned politicians, far much more seasoned than you, for example. And therefore they would not be cheated the way you think they are cheated. Mudavadi didn't walk into court. Mudavadi is the one who came up with NASA. So they have challenges. Some of the mistakes Raila and ODM have made in the past that caused them elections, you know, they have to deal with these challenges. But you two in Jubilee have much more serious challenges. This country is bleeding. There is anger in this country. The kind of anger we have in this country, Kamau Shungwa, will run Jubilee out of town. It's not easy. Going against that anger, which if harnessed properly by NASA, will be a kind of movement perhaps even bigger than that if you look at it carefully, because of the anger. The anger in this country
could be enough.
You see the kind of things that are going on in this country.
Could be enough to determine the election in the opposition.
That anger is well harnessed by NASA. Will run you out of time.
I want to tell you, is ethnic.
We're out of time. We're out of time, gentlemen. But good conversation. The proof will be in the pudding when we go to the election. We're taking a break and we're back with business after this. Thank you.